Welcome to our channel. In this video, we uncover the chilling secrets of the fallen angels as revealed in the mysterious book of Enoch. Who were these divine beings that defied heaven? What forbidden knowledge did they bring to humanity? And why were they cast into darkness for eternity? Hidden for centuries, the book of Enoch offers shocking insights that challenge everything you thought you knew about angels, demons, and the origins of evil. Stay with us as we dive deep into ancient texts and unveil the untold story of the Watchers and their fall from grace. Let's get started. The identity of the fallen angels. Judgment of the angels and the Nephilim. The concept of divine judgment has been a central theme in Judeo-Christian theology. Among the more mysterious and often controversial aspects of this doctrine is the judgment of angels, specifically the fallen angels, and their connection with the Nephilim, beings mentioned briefly in the early chapters of Genesis. This topic, though enigmatic, touches on deep themes of rebellion, divine order, and the consequences of transgression against God's law, both in the spiritual and earthly realms. This essay explores the biblical and extra-biblical foundations for understanding the judgment of the angels and the Nephilim, drawing from sources such as Genesis, the Book of Enoch, 2 Peter, Jude, and Revelation, as well as historical interpretations from Jewish and Christian traditions. Who are the angels and the Nephilim? 1. The angels in question. In Scripture, angels are spiritual beings created by God, serving as messengers, ministers, and agents of His divine will. While most angels remain loyal to God, some chose to rebel. These rebellious angels are often referred to as fallen angels. The most notable among them is Satan, but many others are believed to have joined him in defiance. 2. The Nephilim. The Nephilim are first introduced in Genesis 6 verses 1 to 4. When human beings began to increase in number on the earth and daughters were born to them, the sons of God saw that the daughters of humans were beautiful, and they married any of them they chose. Then the Lord said, "My spirit will not contend with humans forever, for they are mortal. Their days will be 120 years. The Nephilim were on the earth in those days, and also afterward, when the sons of God went to the daughters of humans and had children by them. They were the heroes of old, men of renown." The term sons of God, Hebrew, B'nai Ha-Elohim, has long been interpreted in different ways. The most ancient and widely accepted interpretation, particularly in Jewish tradition, is that these were angels, more specifically fallen angels, who took human women as wives. Their offspring were the Nephilim, often described as giants or mighty men. 2. The rebellion and sin of the angels. 1. The Book of Enoch's account. While the Genesis passage is brief, the Book of Enoch, an ancient Jewish apocalyptic text, not part of the biblical canon for most traditions, elaborates extensively on this event. It identifies a group of 200 angels known as the Watchers, led by figures like Semyaza and Azazel, who descended to earth and corrupted humanity. According to 1 Enoch 6-16, these angels took human wives, taught forbidden knowledge, warfare, sorcery, astrology, cosmetics, etc. Produced hybrid offspring, the Nephilim, who became violent and destructive. Defiled themselves in the natural order. 2. The consequences of the angels' sin. God judged these angels severely. And the Lord said unto Michael, "Go, bind Semjaza and his associates, in the valleys of the earth till the day of their judgment." 1 Enoch 10:11-13. The judgment involved binding these angels in the abyss until the final judgment. Azazel in particular, is cast into a desert and covered with rocks. 3. Biblical affirmations of angelic judgment. Though the Book of Enoch is not canonical in most Christian traditions, except the Ethiopian Orthodox Church, New Testament writers seem to reference its themes and even specific passages. 1. 2 Peter 2 verses 4-5. For if God did not spare the angels when they sinned, but cast them into hell and committed them to chains of gloomy darkness to be kept until the judgment, if He did not spare the ancient world but preserved Noah. This passage directly links the sin of certain angels with the time of Noah, reinforcing the Genesis-Enoch connection. The Greek word translated as hell is Tartarus, a term used in Greek mythology for the deep abyss where rebellious beings are imprisoned. 2. Jude 1 verses 6-7. And the angels who did not stay within their own position of authority, but left their proper dwelling, he has kept in eternal chains under gloomy darkness until the judgment of the great day. Jude explicitly mentions angels abandoning their proper domain, an apparent reference to the watchers descending to earth. He likens their sin to Sodom and Gomorrah, cities known for sexual immorality and unnatural desire. These passages reveal that a specific group of angels committed a grave sin. They are now bound in chains, awaiting future judgment. Their actions are tied to a rebellion against divine order, especially regarding sexuality and human corruption. 4. The judgment of the Nephilim. 1. The flood as judgment. The Nephilim, as the unnatural offspring of angels and humans, were a major reason for the corruption of the earth. Genesis continues, "The Lord saw how great the wickedness of the human race had become. The Lord regretted that he had made human beings on the earth, and his heart was deeply troubled." Genesis 6 verses 5-6. The solution was the flood, which wiped out all except Noah and his family. The destruction of the Nephilim was part of this purging. 2. Were there Nephilim after the flood? Numbers 13:33 records the words of the Israelite spies. "We seemed like grasshoppers in our own eyes, and we looked the same to them." This reference has led to speculation that some Nephilim survived or reappeared after the flood. Some scholars believe the term was reused for later giants, like the Anakim or Rephaim, while others propose post-flood genetic corruption or metaphorical language. However, it is clear that the original Nephilim, the offspring of the Watchers, were destroyed in the flood as part of divine judgment. Final judgment of the angels. 1. Awaiting judgment. The fallen angels, those who sinned before the flood, are not yet fully judged. As Peter and Jude state, they are kept in chains, awaiting the final judgment. 2. Revelation's vision. In the book of Revelation, we see glimpses of this final judgment. Revelation 12 describes a war in heaven between Michael and his angels and the dragon, Satan, and his angels. The dragon is cast down to earth. Revelation 20 verse 10 speaks of the lake of fire as the final destination for the devil and his followers. And the devil who had deceived them was thrown into the lake of fire and sulfur, and will be tormented day and night forever and ever. Although it specifically names Satan, it is assumed that the rebellious angels will share in this fate. Matthew 25 verse 41 confirms this. "Then he will say to those on his left, 'Depart from me, you cursed, into the eternal fire prepared for the devil and his angels.'" 3. The role of humans in angelic judgment. A surprising statement appears in 1 Corinthians 6 verse 3. "Do you not know that we will judge angels?" Paul reminds the Corinthian believers that in the age to come, redeemed humanity will participate in God's justice, even over angelic beings. This underscores the seriousness of angelic rebellion and the high calling of the redeemed. 6. Theological implications. 1. The cosmic consequences of rebellion. The story of the fallen angels and the Nephilim emphasizes that sin is not just a human issue, it's a cosmic rebellion. Spiritual beings who were created good and powerful chose to rebel, corrupting the earth. Their judgment reflects that no being is above God's law, and that even the highest angels are accountable. 2. Boundaries in creation. The sin of the angels involved crossing divinely established boundaries, angels taking human form, engaging in sexuality and producing unnatural offspring. This aligns with other biblical judgments where transgressing God's created order, e.g. Sodom, Babel, results in divine wrath. 3. Divine justice and mercy. God's judgment on the Nephilim and the angels was immediate and severe, but he also preserved Noah, demonstrating his commitment to justice and mercy. The final judgment still awaits, a sign of God's patience and timing. 4. Spiritual warfare and vigilance. For believers today, the judgment of the angels serves as a warning and a call to vigilance. It reveals that spiritual rebellion has tangible effects on earth, and that spiritual warfare is real. Yet it also points to the certainty that evil will be judged. 7. Contemporary interpretations and controversies. Modern scholars and theologians hold differing views on these accounts. Literal view. Many ancient and some modern interpreters take the Genesis 6 and Enoch narratives literally, believing that angels indeed mated with human women. Sethite view. Others argue that sons of God refers to the righteous line of Seth and the daughters of men, to the ungodly line of Cain. Mythological or allegorical view. Some suggest the stories are symbolic of corruption or mythological in nature, not to be read literally. Despite the debate, early Jewish and Christian writings, like Enoch, Jubilees, and the Epistles, strongly support a supernatural understanding of these events. The judgment of the angels and the Nephilim is a rich and sobering topic. It reflects God's intolerance for rebellion and corruption, even among the celestial beings. The sins of the fallen angels disrupted both heaven and earth, necessitating divine intervention through the flood and future judgment. Though mysterious and at times speculative, these stories teach enduring truths. God's justice is impartial, boundaries matter in creation, and divine order will ultimately be restored. As the faithful await the final judgment, these accounts inspire awe, caution, and hope in the sovereign plan of God. The identity of the fallen angels. The concept of fallen angels is one of the most compelling and enigmatic themes in religious literature. These beings, once divine, are portrayed as cast out of heaven due to rebellion, pride, or moral corruption. Their stories are foundational to the theological framework of evil and cosmic struggle in many traditions, especially within Judaism, Christianity, and Islam. This essay explores the identity of the fallen angels by examining their origins, the scriptural and extra-biblical references, the symbolic meanings ascribed to them, and how they have been interpreted over time. Origins of the concept. The term fallen angel refers to those angels who were expelled from heaven due to disobedience to God. Though the Bible does not use the phrase explicitly, the concept is strongly implied in several texts. The most referenced source is Revelation 12 verses 7 to 9, which describes a war in heaven where Michael and his angels fight against the dragon and his angels, interpreted as Satan and his followers. The passage concludes, "The great dragon was hurled down, that ancient serpent called the devil or Satan who leads the whole world astray. He was hurled to the earth and his angels with him." This foundational image sets the stage for understanding fallen angels as rebellious beings who once held celestial status. However, the most detailed account of the fall of angels is found not in the canonical texts of the Bible, but in extra-biblical literature, especially the Book of Enoch, a Jewish apocalyptic text that expands on Genesis 6 verses 1 to 4. The sons of God saw that the daughters of humans were beautiful, and they married any of them they chose. The Book of Enoch elaborates on this passage, naming the fallen angels as watchers, a group of 200 angels who descended to earth, lusted after human women, and fathered the Nephilim, giant, violent beings. Their leader, Semjaza or Semiaza, and his cohort, including Azazel, are condemned for corrupting humanity and teaching forbidden knowledge such as weaponry, sorcery, and cosmetics. Biblical and extra-biblical references. Though fallen angels are not a major focus of canonical scripture, their presence can be inferred in a few key passages. 1. Isaiah 14 verses 12 to 15. This passage refers to a figure called Lucifer, Latin for light bringer, described as having fallen from heaven. How you have fallen from heaven, morning star, son of the dawn. Though this is primarily a taunt against the king of Babylon, later Christian interpretation associated Lucifer with Satan, identifying him as a high angel who rebelled against God due to pride. 2. Ezekiel 28 verses 12 to 17. This oracle against the king of Tyre includes imagery of a being who was the model of perfection, blameless in his ways until wickedness was found in him. Again, though originally intended as a metaphor for earthly arrogance, theologians have read it as an allusion to Satan's origin. 3. Jude 1 verse 6 and 2 Peter 2 verse 4. Both New Testament epistles refer to angels who sinned and are now kept in darkness, bound with everlasting chains. These references align with the narrative in 1 Enoch and demonstrate that early Christians accepted or were at least familiar with the idea of rebellious angels punished for their transgressions. Names and identities of fallen angels. Various traditions and texts assign names and identities to fallen angels. The Book of Enoch is the most detailed in this regard, listing 20 leaders of the fallen watchers. Some notable names include Simjaza, the leader who convinced the others to join in his rebellion. Azazel, accused of teaching humanity warfare and cosmetics, punished by being bound in a desert. Armoros, Kokabil, Barakil, other named watchers with specific roles in corrupting humanity. In Christian tradition, the most prominent fallen angel is Lucifer, commonly equated with Satan. According to post-biblical interpretations, Lucifer was a high-ranking archangel who became prideful and sought to ascend above God, based largely on Isaiah 14 and Ezekiel 28. Consequently, he and a third of the angels were cast out of heaven, Revelation 12 verse 4. Other sources, like the Apocalypse of Abraham and the Testament of Solomon, add to the list of fallen angels, including beings who tempt humans and rule over specific sins or territories. Interpretive perspectives. The fallen angels have been interpreted differently across theological and philosophical traditions. Broadly, there are three main approaches: literal, symbolic, and mythological. Literal interpretation. In this view, fallen angels are real, spiritual beings who were created by God but fell due to their own free will. This interpretation is prevalent in conservative Christian theology, especially in Catholic, Orthodox, and evangelical traditions. The fall of the angels is seen as the primordial rebellion, preceding even the fall of Adam and Eve. This view maintains that Satan, once a glorious archangel, led a rebellion against God out of pride and ambition. The other fallen angels, now demons, serve him in his ongoing war against God's kingdom and influence human affairs through temptation and possession. Symbolic interpretation. Many scholars, especially modern theologians and biblical critics, view the stories of fallen angels symbolically. According to this perspective, the narrative reflects human struggles with pride, power, and moral failure. The fallen angels are personifications of human vices or warnings against overreaching ambition. Isaiah and Ezekiel, for instance, are understood to use the imagery of fallen angels metaphorically to condemn the hubris of earthly rulers. Lucifer, in this view, is not a literal being but a symbol of prideful rebellion. Mythological and cultural analysis. Some scholars examine the concept of fallen angels in the broader context of ancient Near Eastern mythology. Similar stories of divine beings who descend to earth and become corrupt can be found in Mesopotamian, Canaanite, and Greek mythology. For example, the story of the Titan Prometheus, who defies the gods and brings fire, knowledge, to humanity, parallels Azazel's role in Enoch. This comparative approach suggests that the fallen angels may represent an amalgamation of various mythic themes adapted by the Israelites during periods of exile and cultural exchange. Theological implications. The doctrine of fallen angels plays a crucial role in understanding the problem of evil in Christian theology. Their fall precedes the fall of man and thus provides a cosmic dimension to the origin of sin. According to Augustine and later theologians like Thomas Aquinas, angels were created with free will. Some chose to love God, while others chose pride and self-exaltation. The existence of these beings provides an explanation for the presence of evil spirits and demonic activity in the world. Moreover, their punishment serves as a warning to humanity about the consequences of rebellion. Islamic perspective. In Islam, the concept of fallen angels is treated differently. The Quran does not support the idea that angels can sin, as they are described as perfectly obedient to God, Quran 66:6. Instead, the figure most analogous to Satan is Iblis, who is a jinn, not an angel, Quran 18:50. Iblis refuses to bow to Adam out of pride and is cast out of God's grace. Some Islamic traditions mention Harut and Marut, two angels sent to test humanity in Babylon. They taught people sorcery but warned them against using it. While some see this as an example of angels falling, Orthodox Islamic theology maintains that true angels do not disobey God. Fallen angels in literature and culture. The motif of the fallen angel has permeated literature and art for centuries. John Milton's Paradise Lost offers the most influential literary depiction, portraying Lucifer, Satan, as a tragic anti-hero who declares, "Better to reign in hell than serve in heaven." Milton's Satan is proud, articulate, and sympathetic in many ways, a reflection of Enlightenment concerns with individualism and rebellion against tyranny. Romantic poets such as Blake and Byron also reimagined the fallen angel as a figure of defiance and creativity, often aligned with the artist's struggle against societal norms. In modern pop culture, fallen angels appear in movies, books, and television shows as complex, brooding figures who struggle with redemption, love, and identity. This evolution reflects a shift from viewing them as purely evil to seeing them as tragic, misunderstood characters. The identity of the fallen angels is a rich and multifaceted subject that blends theology, mythology, literature, and psychology. Whether seen as literal beings, symbols of rebellion, or cultural archetypes, fallen angels continue to captivate human imagination. Their stories raise essential questions about the nature of free will, the origins of evil, and the struggle between obedience and autonomy. In religious contexts, they serve as cautionary tales about pride and disobedience. In literary and cultural representations, they reflect the complexity of the human condition, the desire to ascend, the pain of failure, and the possibility of redemption. Ultimately, the fallen angels stand as enduring figures in the spiritual and moral landscape of humanity, simultaneously feared and empathized with, despised and admired. Their fall from grace reminds us not only of divine judgment but also of the frailty and grandeur of the will. Thanks for watching. The secrets of the fallen angels from the Book of Enoch continue to fascinate and mystify, shedding light on ancient truths hidden for millennia. If this journey into forbidden knowledge and divine rebellion intrigued you, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe for more explorations into ancient texts, mythology, and biblical mysteries. Share your thoughts below. What do you believe about the Watchers and their legacy on humanity? Join us next time as we uncover more lost wisdom from the past. Until then, stay curious, stay questioning, and remember, some truths are hidden for a reason. See you soon.